Domantas Sabonis is leading the NBA in this category. Sabonis has currently committed 154 fouls this season. In the entire NBA, there have been 26,352 fouls. So compared to the whole league, 154 seems like such a small fraction. However, at 3.5 fouls per game, this is actually not a small number. The Kings are number 9th on the list in total fouls per game as a team. So you can see the Raptors are number 1 at 1,028. Then we have the Kings down here at 920. And remember, 154 of those are from Sabonis. The Kings have been on a winning streak recently, but are committing all these fouls contributing to some of their losses, especially again coming from Sabonis, who is one of their top players, and they need him in the game at all times. As you can see here, the Kings are number 3rd in the entire league in shooting fouls committed at 499. So basically, when a player is trying to take a shot, that means they're getting free throws. So 499 times this season, they have committed a foul where the other team is shooting free throws. You know how many of those came from Sabonis? 72. So 72 times this season, an opponent has gotten free throws off of Sabonis, excluding three-pointers for a second just because it's easier to calculate that way, just assuming it was all two-point shots that the player missed. It could be an additional 144 points total of all the teams, whoever they played, to be added to their score because of Sabonis fouling them. And they could have made it, and then it could have only been one additional free throw. But we are just taking this as a random hypothetical. You break it down that way, especially from the shooting foul perspective, his committing fouls actually might be hurting the team. Now, Sabonis has played like an all-star this year. He obviously did not make the team, but he has played super well for the Kings. There is no argument to be made that him fouling discredits what he has done on the court for them and how much better they are when he's on the floor. So this video is not to say Sabonis doesn't help the team, he doesn't help them win, he doesn't make them better. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just pointing out the statistical anomaly, if you will, although I'm sure other players have committed that many fouls in a season before. But my point is how much better maybe the Kings could be if Sabonis could stay out of foul trouble. Because every point counts in the NBA. And we know players will take advantage if they can get to the free throw line. Because let's just say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we know he's going to make his free throws. If you're playing OKC and it's a one-possession game, you cannot give them fouls, especially Shai. Those are just easy opportunities for free points. There's a few things to consider when talking about him leading the NBA in fouls per game committed. One, the fact that Sabonis plays basically the center position. You could say he plays power forward as well, but he is a front court player. And although on offense, he spends his time, between the paint and the perimeter because he does handle the ball a lot and, get other players involved. On defense, you're probably going to find him more so in the paint. And we know that a lot of fouls come from inside the paint. And if you have someone like Joel Embiid, let's say, or Jokic backing you down in the paint, there's nothing you can really do to stop them other than foul them. Whereas if you're guarding on the perimeter a three-point shooter, although you can foul them from the three-point line, you're probably less likely. And so I believe the stats would say guarding on the three-point line probably has a less foul percentage than inside the paint. With that said, obviously Sabonis' foul numbers will be higher, along with other players who guard inside the paint and stuff like that. We also know Sabonis is a physical player, so obviously he is not afraid of, trying to make it difficult on you to get your shot up. And so that can cause some more reaching in fouls and stuff like that because he's just playing extra hard. Ironically, this is not the most he's averaged in fouls per game in a season. I believe it was 2022-2023 with the Kings where he was averaging 3.8 fouls per game, which obviously is worse than 3.5. And again, we always have to consider certain situations and circumstances that are going on, the position he plays, who he's guarding, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's realistic to think that Sabonis should have 1 foul per game. At 3.5, that's in the foul trouble territory, meaning once you hit 4 fouls, let's just say you're in the third quarter, the coach is probably going to take you out. Or if you get 2 fouls in the first quarter, the coach is going to take you out because you can't just keep committing fouls or you won't be able to play in the game. And again, when we're talking about late game situations when your team needs you on the floor, if you're in foul trouble, you can't be there to help. So Sabonis has been awesome this season. He deserves all the credit, that he's been given and then some. I'm just pointing out that if Sabonis is able to cut down his fouls a bit, the Kings might be even more potent. Because as they say, best ability is availability. And he's obviously not hurt, so it's not the same thing as that kind of concept. But if you can't be on the floor because you're in foul trouble, that also hurts your team because you are a very good player who impacts winning.